Hi, everybody. This is a little bit of I guess, a titty bit video. Um, Today we went out and we did just a little bit of shopping because we were out of milk. And then we had to come back home. And then I had a dental appointment because they deep cleaned this quadrant of my mouth. I had to get a shot for it and everything because it's like intense. But it worked out pretty good. And so I'm in for a long, you know, I think I've got something like 10, 12 appointments with the dentist to get my teeth all fixed up. It's really important to take care of yourself when you're younger. But I've had a couple of experiences over the past few days that I thought I would talk about. And honestly, I get kind of tired of doing talking head videos, even though the stuff is like super, super important. And it's all really relevant to who I am right now and what I'm learning and how I'm growing and how I'm healing and how I'm becoming more stable as I go. Because what I'm learning, I have spent a lot of time over the past year and a half, especially studying, actually more like 2.5 years, but really studying psychology, how to be your authentic self, but more than that, how to be totally aware of how you're affecting other people. Because as my last video talked about, hurt people hurt people. And, you know, I can come across as a person sometimes that's like totally got it together. But I went through something just the other day it shook me. It shook me a little bit and it reminded me. So I'm kind of a needy person. And when I say needy, it's like there's a part of me on the inside that's always scared and always feels vulnerable and alone. And I've not had very many, if any, people in my life. In the whole 64 years that I've lived, I've had so few people in my life that were just like, just like really there. They had my back. They were there for me. It was like I was always left on my own. And if I ever showed that I was being needy, it's like everybody just ran away. Still in my life, and I'm not talking about Jamie and Joe who are with me every day, but still in my life, if I show any weakness, if I show that I'm going to be needy, it's like everybody just scatters, you know. I can post a video about, and be crying or telling about something that happened. It's just like everybody just runs away. It's like, oh my God, she's getting needy. Um, but I was feeling particularly needy, and every couple has relationships. Wow, that was a kaboom. I don't know what that was. Um, every couple has, you have to work on your relationship. You have to work on what each one needs from the other one. And I was feeling kind of like, I guess it was just a woman thing, but I was just getting to feel like, Jamie wasn't staying with me much. He wasn't spending much time with me. And I was feeling kind of needy. But there was a thing or two that happened, and it was he didn't mean to do it, but it was something that came around that made me feel like he just didn't care in this like really, really vulnerable side. And some people, I've been told I'm pettish, but anyway, there was something like him. He just doesn't care about me. Blah. So I knew better, but in my mind I was struggling with this, like it was almost like a trust issue. And but this has something to do with the encephalitis that I had. If you don't know what the story is of my encephalitis, my brain swelling, um, you have to go back and look at some of my videos. Long story short, my gallbladder died. It was creating sepsis that for years ran through my bloodstream that was causing my brain to swell, and it caused all kinds of issues. And I have a lot of memory loss right now on certain areas and times of my life. When I started getting like really, really bad, when it started getting worse and worse and worse, then I have certain lapses of memory during those times. So, um, without going through the whole story again, I want to say that I sat down. If you've never experienced amnesia or memory loss, it can be very disconcerting. And Jamie and I share this, and because at the time that I met him over 3 years ago, he had been hit in the back of the head with an iron pole or iron pipe. And he had a very, he actually was in a lot of amnesia. And some things he thought he remembered, he didn't know if it was real. He didn't, so it was like really, his existence was really shaky because he didn't know what was real and what wasn't. And we've actually worked through a lot of that for him right now. But at the same time that we met, I had essentially lost everything that I had. I lost my home. I lost my family except for my son Joe. And I still had two of the dogs at that time. One of them's passed away sadly now, but I still have one of the dogs. But I had lost all my personal possessions. And essentially, that was things that I had saved, some of them my entire life. I had things that I had saved and put back that I had kept since I was a child. So I lost all of that. And that kind of added to the detachment because your surroundings have a lot to do with, your, where you're at because of your surroundings type thing. But anyway, long story short, I was in my personal Facebook page, and I ran up on this memory, and it was like 5 years ago, I watched Downton Abbey, and I had posted, I can't believe that I hadn't watched it till now, and I had enjoyed it so much, and I was just like, my brain was going, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, because I still can't remember where I was 5 years ago when I watched Downton Abbey. I can remember watching it and I can remember seeing it, but I can't place where I was or anything else. And that was really, really kind of disconcerting for me, and it still is because I'm still trying to remember. And if any, I would just love for somebody like family or somebody to come back to me and say, oh, this is where you were at when you watched it. Because I literally cannot remember. I can't place that memory at all. And so I'm still struggling with a lot of memory loss and a lot of emotional issues as well. But what happened was, this was a really good thing because I had been feeling kind of detached from Jamie and a little bit like, there's our neighbors are building something in the back, and that's why you're hearing banging, and I'm really, really sorry. So, but what happened was when I saw that memory on Facebook and I realized I could not remember where I was when I watched Downton Abbey, I remembered when Jamie and I first got together, I didn't have like two brain cells to rub together up here to like pay my phone bill or keep track of my bank account. And, and while he was struggling with some memories, it was a little bit different. So he actually had kind of like his his two brain cells were working so he could like do my business and stuff. And I remember, just spending a lot of time just, it was like I just was sitting and staring, which was like really weird. Um, but it came back to me how amazing it was that he just came in. And my son Joseph has autism and some cerebral palsy, so um, we were pretty needy, and it came back to me how Jamie just jumped in the picture and just started taking care of us. And he essentially didn't have any family because his mother had thrown him out, and he had been on the street. That's how come he got hit in the back of the head with a pole with an iron rod board, an iron pipe, which is another long story. But it came back to me how he just jumped in my life and protected us and took care of us and saw that, the phone bills were paid. And, there were times he worked a job even though he really wasn't able to work a job at that time. And, just he was there. And all of a sudden I realized I had actually forgotten. I had become detached from that, you know, he really is literally my hero. So I suddenly, that wall of distrust broke down, and I realized how silly it was. And, it just healed something in me, which in turn healed something in him, because it was kind of like I had forgotten who he was and what he had done too. So at some point a few weeks down the road, I think what we're going to do is we're going to have a little sit down, the both of us just sit down and talk about some of the things that we've been through together, because we were literally homeless essentially together for 2 years. And for 1 year, one complete total year, we were actually living in the car itself. And then eventually it was a truck. But we've been through a lot. And even though our story is, it may be getting old, I don't know, or my YouTube channel is only 2 months old. So there's a lot of fragmented pieces of our life. And when I share things on our videos that I have learned, I want you to know that these are things that I have learned mostly over the past 2 years. Because 4 years ago, 8 years ago, I may have thought I really had life pulled together, but I didn't understand these things. I didn't understand the value of family, the value of realizing that your family's not perfect. And relationships have to be, they have to be fed into, and you have to be patient, and you have to understand that, things are never really perfect. And while I may be addled and I have a lot of amnesia still, and I have a lot of emotional disconnect, and I have a lot of confusion, I still suffer a lot of pain. In a sense, I'm almost awakened to what real life truly is. And 10 years ago, I was, bright and bushy-tailed and mentally alert. But I didn't really know what life was all about. So I just wanted to share this story, and it may not mean anything to you, but sometimes in life we go through things that are excruciating. There are times, and I do this a lot, I'm not going to cry. There are times I miss my family so bad that I feel like I could just crumple up like a piece of tissue paper and just wilt away. But I also realize that what God has given me is so great. And we're going to build something new because Jamie and I both still have amnesia. And what personal possessions we have are gone. And a lot of our family members literally have detached or disowned us. And all we have is us. Maybe someday, things will be better and we'll be able to reincorporate some of these family members back into our lives. But right now, the most important thing is building the life that we have as a family. And we're a pretty busy family. There's me and Jamie and Joe, and it's very intricate. It's very different. And for those of you who don't know, I'm 64 years old. Jamie's 24. And my son Joseph is also just turned 25. And Joe's like 6 months older than him. And we will get into, I know that's a really odd situation. It's a really odd family dynamic, and we would have to explain that later. But we have 3 dogs. We have Doodle, who is a poodle. We have Noogie, that is a chug. And then we have Rhonda, who is a blue heeler fox terrier mix, and they are live wires. And then we have an Egyptian Mal cat who is named Dylan. So we're pretty dynamic and full family. But up here, sometimes things get broken. And it's like a jigsaw puzzle, and you have to try to put it back together. And it's very difficult to do because you've got the mental, the physical, the emotional, the fabric of life kind of gets broken. But going back into it, the most important thing is you realize what's valuable. You realize what's real. And you separate your thing itself from the things you can't fix and the things that are fake. And you really got to stop and think, who has loved me? Who has never left me? Who has stood by my side, thick and thin? And you attach to those people. Some people don't value you. If they see you as having flaws or a failure, they may drop you. They may not need you. Or maybe you had something about your life, I have been hard to handle. I really was. Especially when I started getting sick and my brain started whatever it was, the swelling kind of made my head melt. I went through personality disorders. I went through multiple personality disorder because all the chemicals and all the stuff up here were just not working. I made some horrendous decisions. As I said, I was not capable of taking care of myself. So, yeah, I just wanted to share this, and I don't want to make this video too long, but I did want to post this. And if you want to hear more about these stories, you can go back and you can watch some of my older videos and recap. But I just wanted to share this. And so, sometimes we got a few screws loose up here. But I think I'm going to be better because of it. Because I'm learning so much about what is real and true. And I just recently had a situation come up in my life where I really, really bombed. I really, really failed. It was an integral fail. It was a fail where I ended up, it was almost like disloyalty. It was like lashing out. Sometimes I still bomb. And I regret that, but I know I'm still healing. Sometimes it just takes a while to heal. So, I hope this helps somebody. I hope it means something to somebody. Remember, wherever you're at, you're not alone. There's somebody there with you. Somebody is going through the same thing that you are. So, like, subscribe, hit the bell button so that you'll get notifications of my videos. And later on, we're going to be sharing more things because we're getting ready to do a little revamp of our house and some painting and some upgrading, because even though our goal is to leave here and go back home in the East, we have to get financially able, we have to get physically able, we have to get emotionally able. We've got a lot of goals and benchmarks to meet. So if you would support me on this journey, and I'm going to talk to you in the next video.